Alright, so we're going to be opening up and disassembling this 15-inch MacBook Pro mid-2015 model A1398. So this is having no display, the screen is completely black, and what I noticed is the screen hinge is a little wobbly. So we're going to check if the connection got pulled a little loose, and hopefully that will fix the issue. So we're going to use a P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screwdriver. And we're going to remove all the screws. You want to keep them in order by putting them flat side down like that on your desk in the pattern you remove them. So we have this rectangular pattern of screws, so we're just going to go ahead and put them like that. If you happen to already mix them up, the back two here are shorter than the rest, so keep that in mind. Alright, other than that, let's go ahead and continue. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade their devices as well. Helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? So these are customer computers, in case you're wondering. That's how I have so many videos and how I can make so many videos on different computers. I don't buy them just to make videos, so keep that in mind. Alright. So again, this one, the screen is just staying black. The customer told me that it works on the external monitor. So let's go ahead and see. So we got all those screws. Now we're going to go from the back here and just pull this up. All right, it's held in with these little clip things. It's a little bit dusty, so I'm actually going to go take it outside, clean it up, and I'll be back. All right, so I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. Cleaned out the dust here. All right, it's a lot cleaner. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to disconnect the battery. Okay, so what you do is you can actually see here, there's two layers. So we're going to pull up on this section of the battery here. Okay, I like to lay it down like this so it's easier. We'll get both corners here and then we can kind of just pull it up like that. So there we go. Now you can see the battery is disconnected. Alright, after doing that, to be safe, you want to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds. This will drain any residual power and make it a lot safer to work on. Alright, so you're going to continue holding it. Here you can see how wobbly the hinge is, and that's not good. That means most likely, if we're lucky, it pulled the cable out from the other side. And if that's the case, we'll be lucky. Hopefully it didn't actually damage anything. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect the wireless antennas here. So we're just going to pull up from the tails here, just like that. Just go from the tails and just pull up. Alright, and we're doing that on all three, just like this. Okay, so now we got that out. Next, we're going to disconnect the the webcam or eyesight camera cable. Okay. So we're going to unroute it from here to make it easier to pull out. Okay, so get these cables out of here. Right, then we're going to go ahead and lift this. Carefully go along here. I like to keep my finger here while I lift so that way it doesn't just yank on it. And then this cable can be pretty difficult to remove. If you have some small needle nose pliers, you can kind of use that, or you can even use the screwdriver, but you want to carefully walk it out like from one side to the next. So you can see I pulled that out just barely. I'm going to go to the other side, pull that, and then keep going back and forth. And we're just going to keep slowly trying to walk this connector out. So this side for some reason is a lot more difficult to get. But you can see it came out at an angle like that. Once you get that, you can actually kind of just wiggle it, and there we go. Okay, again, you want to be very careful with that cable, because if you damage that, you won't have your camera anymore. Okay, so let's see. We're going to switch over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, and we need to first remove these little rubber pieces here. So I like to get my screwdriver underneath. There's screws here, 3 screws. I like to go under in between and then peel it up, so that way, as you can see, the adhesive stays on there. All right, so we'll set that aside. We're going to now, oh, this side doesn't even have the rubber piece. I don't know if when I cleaned it, if it flew off or if it wasn't there. But yeah, this rubber piece is missing. That's kind of weird. All right, anyways, if yours has that, you want to remove it. Okay, we're going to use the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver now to take this screw out here. Okay, I'm going to hold that so the screw stays in place. And we're going to take this little bracket piece out. Okay, so this piece, I don't know why they have that there. It doesn't really do anything. Maybe it's for if the hinge breaks or something. But let's go ahead and remove that from both sides. All right. There we go. And then we're going to also disconnect the LCD LVDS connector. Again, it's very important that before you remove this cable or you mess with that, make sure that you disconnect the battery and then hold the power button for 15 seconds. All right. So let's go ahead and get this connector out. So what you do is you flip this little metal latch here. I like to use my fingernail to do that. All right. So just like this. All right. Once you flip that latch up, you can see it's like this. Then rotate so it's easier to work on. Grab both sides like this, and then you're gonna, towards the bottom of the connector, push back. All right, just like that. Oh man, actually it looks like they had some liquid damage here before. So, I mean, I don't see damage on the connector here or here. So hopefully that's not gonna be an issue. Okay. I mean, if it was, their charge port would probably also be dead, so they're probably okay. All right, next thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna remove the hinge screws. So let's go ahead and zoom back out. Okay, we're gonna need to work on the edge of the desk here. So you're gonna see all this junk on my desk. All right, we're gonna switch over to a T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver. Okay, what you're gonna do now is you wanna open the screen all the way. All right, completely. Okay. And then we're gonna rest the keyboard on the edge of the desk so that the screen hangs over. And then we're gonna go ahead and take out the 6 screws here holding those hinges in place. Okay, let's go ahead and get those 6 screws out. Okay, these screws are holding pretty tight. We will put some red thread locker here to hold them, so that way when we go to put them back, they won't come loose. Okay. All right, so get all 6 screws out. Okay, now that we got all 6 screws out, we're gonna flip these rubber pieces back over so they're not in the way. Okay, now you can let the screen drop about to 90 degrees, and then you can kind of wiggle and lift it out. And there we go, we got the screen out. I'm gonna set the rest of the computer aside, and we're gonna now be working on the screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in a bit here. We have to remove this piece. All right, so this piece can be pretty difficult to remove. It's a little dusty here, so let's go ahead and clean that. Okay. All right, so here you can actually see how wobbly these hinges are, okay, on both sides. So yeah, that's not good. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and get this piece off. So I don't know if somebody worked on it before, because that's the easiest I've ever been able to slide this piece over. So you can see we're sliding it over to the right. And then once you've done that, we should be able to pop this piece up here. It's kind of stuck. Okay, so slide that over like this, and then should be able to lift this out. There we go. Okay, so the bottom kind of flipped up slightly. Okay, we're basically rotating it, twisting it this way, and there we go. All right, that's the first time I've seen this actually stay connected to that plastic piece while removing that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this out. This piece here has a little crack down here, but hopefully it will be okay. Okay. So again, we're gonna rotate and flip this up. Okay, and then here you can see the other piece actually stays in there, which is how it should be. Okay, so here you can see how wobbly this thing is, how wobbly this is. So if they're lucky, it could be this cable just came loose under here. So hopefully that's the case, and we'll hopefully be able to fix that. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna have to undo this adhesive here. There's some adhesive wrapped around the cable here. Okay, so we're just gonna get this adhesive up and undo that. Okay, it's pretty difficult to peel this up, but just keep working at it and you'll eventually get it out. Okay, there you can see. All right, oops, sorry. There you can see we got the adhesive out, so peel it back just like that. Oh man, I don't have enough desk space to slide this around and show this better. Okay, so there we go. Peeled that cable back. All right, then you can go ahead and move this cable out of the way slightly. As you can see, this is super wobbly, so we need to fix that first. So I'm going to use some red thread locker here. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to first take one of the screws out. Okay. Then we're going to add the thread locker here. You don't want too much, not even a full drop, just enough to kind of get on the screw. Here you can see. All right, then we're going to get that screw back in. All right, and you want to make sure it's all lined up, not moving all over the place, and then you can go ahead and tighten that down. Okay, all right, now we're going to get the other screw back out and do the same thing. Add a little bit of thread locker to that. Okay, and now we'll get this screw in. All right, and go ahead and tighten that in. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so we're gonna now go over to the other side. Here you can see now if I move it, it doesn't want to move. That's good. I'm gonna go over to the other side and do the same thing where the wireless antennas are. Okay, I have a little bit less working area here, but let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go in between the wireless antennas and the iSight camera cable here. Okay, I'm gonna undo that screw. When you put this back, you want to be careful not to smash those cables. Okay, so we're gonna get this out. Okay, same thing, add some more thread locker again. Okay, just like that. Let's go ahead now and get this screw back in. Again, make sure these cables stay out of the way. Alright, and slowly tighten it in. Make sure you're not smashing any of those cables. And make sure that this hinge is flush and not like going all over the place. Okay, and we're going to slowly tighten that down. Okay, looks good. Okay, make sure it's lined up. You don't want it to move like up or down. Okay, there we go, tighten that into place. Let's go ahead and get this one back out. So this one you have to push all the cables down out of the way. Okay, let's go ahead and add some thread locker again. Okay, just like that, and then we'll slowly tighten this in. Again, make sure that you aren't smashing any of these cables. Okay, this one might be a little tricky. I'm gonna have to use some tweezers to get the cable up and out of the way. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and continue tightening that down. All right. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight, and you can see now, again, it doesn't wobble anymore. Okay. All right. So next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna remove, or at least lift up, the wireless antenna board. So let's zoom out here. We're gonna switch over to a PH0 or JS0 screwdriver. And there's a few screws here that we need to remove. So there's one over here in this corner. Okay, then we're gonna go over. Sorry if my head gets in the way, I'm trying to see what I'm doing. There's a second one here in this little pocket. Okay, so 1, 2, then there's another one down here in this pocket. 3, okay. And we've got another one over here, 4. Okay, we got another one here, 5. And one last one here, 6, okay. All right, we don't need to take out the last one that's hidden all the way over here, okay, so we'll leave that one there. Now that we got all of those, we should be able to lift this up. You just kind of wiggle it and pull it slightly, okay, and we just need to pull it enough so that we can check the connection here. So underneath here, there's 2 connections, or 2 cables. So let me see how I can show this. So there's this one here. This one is a little pop connection, so you can pop that up and you can pop it back down. Okay, make sure it lines up and make sure it stays in place. Right, then you have this connection here as well. We'll flip this latch up, and oh no. Okay, so it does look like it burned right there. Let me see if I can zoom in and show you this. So the last few pins on this side are actually burnt off. So you can see those 3 pins, they're burnt. So yeah, because of that, it's not going to work. But normally what you do is you flip that latch. Oops, let's zoom out here. So normally what you do is you flip that metal latch up, and then you just pull the cable back out and reseat it back in. The cable itself looks okay. I don't see any burnt pins there. But again, the 3 pins on the connector itself look damaged. Anyways, we're going to get this connection back in. Okay, make sure that's good. I'm going to try and brush that off with the toothbrush a little bit. See if that helps, but I doubt it because I think it's completely burnt off. Okay, let's go ahead and blow the dust out here. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, I think the pins are burnt. So anyways, let's go ahead and flip this latch back down. We did push the cable back in already, so we'll just flip that latch back into place. All right, and now we're going to put this thing back together, and I'm gonna test it before I put it back together because I might have to see if my partner can fix the screen if the customer wants to have it fixed. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and pull this back here. Okay, and then push that back in. Okay, and I'm gonna test this before I put it all back together, so we're just gonna wrap this back over here and put this, actually let's put the one screw right here back in place. Okay, so we can wrap this back on, and then I'm gonna actually test this without putting it all back together. So what I'm gonna do is I have the computer here, okay, and normally it would be seated this way, so let's go ahead and put this back in. Okay, so we're gonna get this back into place just like this. Okay, we'll close the screen back up a little bit. All right, we can't close it all the way, but I'm gonna get this line back up. Okay, we're gonna reconnect this cable here. And pull that latch into place. Make sure it's completely latched in. Okay, flip that latch back down. All right, now I'm gonna actually push the battery connector in. We don't need to connect the camera and everything for testing, so I'm gonna do that. Let's go ahead and see if it powered on, if anything happens. Hold the option key. Okay, the fans are spinning. As you can see, I'm holding the option key so it doesn't actually boot. And actually, the screen came on, so this person might be super lucky. You can actually see the screen came up. So I'm gonna just shut it off now, and now we gotta, I guess we gotta put it back together. So I held the power button to shut it back off. I'm gonna now pop the battery connector back out. I'm gonna press the power button again for 15 seconds. Again, this is, most people wouldn't test it this way, but I don't wanna take it all apart and put it back together. I mean, I want to put it all back together and then later find out that it's broken. So we're doing it this way, okay? So now we got that. We can go ahead and flip this thing back off, the latch for the LCD or LVDS connector, okay? And hopefully it will work. I'm worried that the thing is burnt, so it might go bad in the future. But anyways, we pulled the LCD connector back out. We're gonna take the screen back out of here, okay? Come on, come back out. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this off camera because it's hard to do this in the position holding it over the camera. So there we go. Okay, let's go ahead now and put this all back together. Okay, we're just gonna put back all the PH0 or JS0 screws, okay? Just like that. I mean, you know how to put screws back in place. Okay. So I'll probably have to show the customer that they had some liquid damage detected and the burnt thing under there. But all right, let's go ahead and get all of this back in. We're gonna get this last screw over here in. Okay. All right, now that we got all those screws back in place, let's go ahead now and get the plastic thing back on top. Okay, so this has this little plastic piece here. We're gonna slide that underneath this hinge here. Okay, again, starting over towards the hinge with the wireless antennas. And then we gotta seat this all back down. Make sure it all goes back in. Okay, so you wanna make sure all of this slides back in, slides under properly. This is kind of sticking up a little bit, so. Okay, there we go. All right, make sure this is all going in as well. Maybe the hinges are slightly out, so let me take them back up, I guess. Come on, let go. Okay, this is being stuck here. There we go, take that back out. Okay, let's see here. Can I slide this up slightly? So we're gonna switch back to the T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver. I'm gonna loosen the screws a tiny bit here. And hopefully I can move it a little. I don't know if that's actually what's causing it. It doesn't seem like it moved at all. But anyways, tighten this back in. Okay, so I don't think that changed anything. Yeah, it looks the same. So I think it's because they also have some adhesive over here. So I'm gonna actually peel that stuff out because that's not necessary. I don't know if that's adhesive or gunk because usually they don't have adhesive here. So we're gonna just scrape this up. Okay. And let's go ahead now and get this bracket back on. Hopefully it will go on right now. Okay, get that back underneath. Slide that over. Make sure everything is lined up properly. Okay, good. Okay. So this side actually went. This side is still being a little weird. There we go. We got it to pop back in. Okay. And then now we're going to just slide it back over. Okay. Everything looks good. This piece looks good. I do have to kind of push this little clip back down so it stays in right. Okay, we're gonna get the other clip over here back in, so just line this up the right way. Okay, so this piece goes back in. Get it in there. Okay, then I just use my T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver to pop that in, just like that on both sides. All right. Looks good. This piece looks somewhat beat up. I think somebody worked on this before. Okay, anyways, now that we got that, let's go ahead and reattach it with the MacBook. Okay, so let's zoom out again. Okay, and turn it a little bit. Oops. Is that straight? I don't know. I can't. Nope. Cut that. Okay, let's get the MacBook. Okay, so we're gonna put it back the same way, having this edge hanging over the desk. You wanna hold these cables up and out of the way, okay? Then we're gonna slowly drop that into place. All right, now that we have that dropped into place, you wanna hold that screen into the right position, and we're gonna get the hinge screws back in. My camera for some reason is getting all laggy on the viewfinder, so hopefully it's not going to be like that in the recording. Okay, so I'm going to kind of loosely fit all these screws in, more just to get everything lined up. Okay, we're going to have to take them out again later so that we can add the thread locker to make sure they don't come loose. Oops, I think I over tightened this so I can't adjust it. Okay, then we'll get this screw, the screws down here in. Okay, and this one. Alright, now I'm going to tighten the ones closest to the center, but not overly tight. Okay, now that we got that, we can go ahead and slowly close the screen. So I like to just lower it like this, and very slowly close this down. Alright, and the reason we're slowly doing that is in case it's not aligned properly, you want it to be able to adjust. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit here now. Alright. Okay, there we go. So we're going to loosen these screws now. And then what we're going to do, we're going to line it up. I like to just use my fingers to make sure everything feels flush on the edges. Okay, so everything seems lined up properly. All right, there we go. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten these center ones again. These are just to keep it in place until we get the thread locker on all the screws. Okay, so now we're going to get the thread locker. Open that up. And we're going to get these screws in with the thread locker. Okay, so get this one. Okay, and you don't need much. We'll get this screw in. Alright, we'll take this screw out. And we're just going to do this with all 6 screws pretty much. Alright. This one. Okay, get that one in. Tighten that one. Alright. We'll get this one back out. Alright. Okay, so we're done with this side. If you want, you can go ahead now and also connect the screen cable. Alright, get everything lined up and pull that back into place. Flip that latch down. Okay, we're going to now go over to this side and do the same thing with the thread locker. Okay. Alright, there we go. Tighten that screw down. I'm going to actually get the, let's actually open this a little bit so we can get this cable into the proper place. Okay, so this cable goes underneath actually, and there's this little hook that hangs over here. Make sure that all the cables go underneath there. Okay, we'll get that in, line that up, get all these wireless antennas back in. Okay, alright, let's go ahead and tighten this back down. Okay, good. Alright, we'll take this screw out. Same thing, add the thread locker to there. Alright, tighten that. Alright, and take the last one out, and same thing, add the red thread locker. Alright, and these screws shouldn't be able to come out on their own again. Right. Some people tell me the red thread locker is too strong and to use the blue one, but I mean, you saw what happened. They used the blue one from factory and it just came out. So these screws seem a little loose. Let me tighten these up. Okay. Seems a little loose. I just want to make sure these don't come out. Okay, so we got all of that. Let's go ahead now and get these cables back in. Let's flip this. Flip this over. Okay, so these cables, basically you do the same thing as but in reverse. So we'll get this iSight camera cable lined up first. Okay, while that's in place, you're gonna basically go from one side to the other, slowly walking that connector back into place, just like that. All right, now it's all the way in. Now we'll get the wireless antennas. You want to line them up, and then the way you know they're in place is if you try and move it around while it's in place, it stays there. Okay, then you can go ahead and push it down. It's very important because if you put these cables in, don't line them up, and you push it down, they can break very easily. So keep that in mind. You don't want to damage these. All right, and the last one here. Line it up and click that in. There we go. Okay, there's a little dust on the side, so let me clean that a little more. There we go. Okay. Then you can go ahead and push this adhesive stuff back down. All right. And flip this rubber piece back over. Okay. Of course, we still have the little T5, Torx 5 little bracket things here. So we're going to put that back in as well. Okay. And then just tighten those down. Right, we only have this one rubber piece, so we're going to put that there. Okay, we're going to go over to this side, and same thing. Don't forget the little metal bracket. We can flip this rubber piece over. Okay, get this bracket back in place. And then we'll just tighten this. All right, now all that's left is to reconnect the battery and put back the bottom cover. So let's go ahead and reconnect the battery here. And I also like to do PRAM and SMC reset after working on MacBooks. All right, so we're gonna now put this bottom cover on. Okay, zoom in a bit, click that in. All right, come on, focus. There we go. All right, so we're gonna now just put back all the P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screws, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, I am going to do a PRAM and SMC reset just to make sure everything is working okay, and then that should be all there is. All right, and hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Other than that, let's go ahead and get all these screws back in and do a PRAM SMC reset and make sure the computer boots up. Okay, let's go ahead and get all of these back in. Last two screws. Okay, last one. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and do the resets. Okay. What's all this gunk here? I'll clean that off with some rubbing alcohol later. There's some black specks. All right, so SMC reset is control option shift on the left side, power button. If you have the charger plugged in, if it's showing orange at the time, when you press that, it'll actually go green and then back to orange. Okay, so anyways, now let's do a PRAM reset. So you power it on and then command option P and R immediately. The screen should come on, it should restart, and then it should power cycle, and then it should chime a second time. So you hear the first chime. All right, after you hear the first chime, if you see the screen turn off, you can actually let go, or you can just keep holding it until you hear the second chime. Okay, so there you go, heard the second chime. I see the Apple logo is on, so we should be good to go. Let me actually clean this stuff up, if it will clean up. Those black specks, okay, they are coming out. So I don't know what they got on there. Maybe some pen ink or something. Okay. Alright. So it's all cleaned up now. And I don't want to show the user account, so here we go. But you can see the screen is on, so we should be good to go. I'm going to shut it down now. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.